Okay, hello again, everyone. Good morning. I am Anggun Nadia Fatimah that will accompany you throughout the learning journey for today. So, welcome to our third class after the midterm. And today we'll be learning about theories related to intercultural communication. So, uh, basically, you are already learned about the other three, both when you visit Indonesia or about 2 weeks ago with Miss Mentari. So you already learned about uncertainty reduction theory, communication accommodation, and anxiety or uncertainty management theory. And today we will be diving into the two theories. The first one is face negotiation theory or FNT, and the other one is conversational constraint theory or CCT. FNT, as the first, uh, assume that in social interaction, people are always negotiating face. This action known as face work. So when you interact with each other, we usually try our best to maintain our face. Like we want to be perceived as a good person by other people, and we try to show empathy, show performing active listening, or doing some act of kindness, so the people will accept us as a good person. And that's actually known as the face work. So you can see the definition below. Face is the projected image of oneself. So the way you want to introduce yourself to others, the way you want them to remember you is actually the face or the image. And the face work, on the other hand, refers to specific verbal and non-verbal messages or nonverbal effort to help you maintain the face or restoring if you ever face the face loss, and to uphold it and honor your face again. So, in intercultural communication, we admit that we come from different type of culture, and this difference will be resulting on the different type of face concern. So maybe for the Western side, individuality or independency means everything, while for the Asian countries, maybe it's not really priorities, while the other priorities is maybe the friendship, the togetherness, sense of belonging, or something like that. And arguably, and this will also be reflected in the way we manage conflict. So in FNT, conflict is actually a phase negotiation process. While when you are in conflict, you tend to hurt each other's feeling or each other's face. Like when you argue, you may attack those people personality or inform them a bit aggressively about what they did wrong. Okay, and so the purpose of FNT is actually to describe different conflict management style performed by those coming from different cultures. So before we diving deeper, we need to understand that in intercultural communication, we can see uh, two opposite cultural type uh, between the individualistic and the collectivistic. Individualistic usually performed by those coming from the Western cultures, so it dominates with the Western habits and values, which strengthen the I identity. So I identity is where you emphasize the need to maintain your own face. That become the priority when you are get contact or interact with each other. And in Western countries, they tend to use a low context culture. Low context culture is a term to describe how people from the Western dominance country tend to use direct messages like direct statement. For example, I prefer this than that. I want this and not that. I hate it. I believe that you are on the wrong side in this matter. Like that. They are very direct and doesn't need flowery words to express their emotion. While in collectivistic society, we emphasize the we identity. We identity highlights uh the strength in what is it the together in the togetherness. We try to belong to something or belong to a clan maybe or a society, a group of society, and so on, and which in which we try to maintain each other's face. That's why you are willing to submit to someone else's willingness, so and state that, oh yeah, yeah, you are true in that matters, just like that. Uh, this represent the high context culture. It represents the high context culture, which people from the Eastern dominance country, tend to use a more subtle way of communication, like doing more flowery works, use more flowery words, if you know what I mean. Like when you state disagreement to people, you don't directly attack them like, oh, I disagree with that, but you rather state that, oh, okay, I think it's a very, very thoughtful idea. However, I think I have to add some important point to enhance that idea, blah blah blah, like that. So you don't uh attack people aggressively. You just convey or express your disagreement in a more subtle way. Okay, that's for the type of culture, and that type of culture will influence the type of face concern. So uh the type of face concern. So there are three type of face concern. The first one is self face, and the second one is others face, and the other one is the mutual face. Self face is the situation where a person tends to prioritize saving him or herself humiliation. Others face is on the contrary, it prioritize uh, someone else's face and saving them from humiliation, even by sacrificing our own face. And while mutual face, trying to concentrate on creating the safe interaction or safe conversation atmosphere to ensure that both parties are saved from humiliation. So this is uh, reflected on the different strategy to maintain face. While the individualistic people tend to use face restoration strategy, the collectivist tends to use face giving strategy. In face restoration, people try their best to preserve autonomy, to defend themselves against the face lost, and protect their personal freedom. While in collectivistic society, they tend to defend and support another person's need for inclusion. Okay, in a more collectivistic society, the conflict management style is divided into three different strategy. The first one is avoiding, uh, when we choose to withdraw ourselves from open discussion, like when you know that you have a friend that is poorer than you, or they have no money, to go to cafeteria with you or to go buying things, shopping and going to the restaurant with you. So you are avoiding of inviting them because you worry that you will burden them. And the second one is obliging. You tend to accommodate or giving in to the wishes of another in conflict. So when you and your friends have different choices of places where you want to go after the class to avoid conflict, you just choose to follow their wishes and go to their preference to their preferred place. While the other one is compromising, negotiating, like for that place example, you can visit the first place with your friends, the one that she or he prefers to go, and then you can go to your preference like that. And it is a bit different with individualistic conflict management style. While there are only two different strategies. Yeah, there are only two different strategies. The first one is to dominate or trying their best to compete to win in conflict, while the other one is integrating, like opening discussion and doing the collaboration, offering win-win resolution, anything that can help you solving the problem. Okay, and this is the how face concern and conflict style is informing each other. Pardon me a little bit. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Okay, I'm back. Those who care about the self face more prioritize a dominance strategy. So they tend to defend and express emotion or feeling verbally and do some active or passive aggression effort to defend their face and probably hurting others. While those who concern about others' face more try to avoid what is it? Try to avoid uncomfortable situation or uncomfortable topic. So they try to give in, pretending that like the conflict is doesn't exist, and also are ask someone to help them resolve the conflict. While those who concerned about the mutual phase tend to choose integration strategy, like being apologetic if there is some mistake you know that you already done, or doing some private talk to make it more intimate conversation so you can resolve the conflict better, or respecting each other's perspective by first being someone who's willing to listen for the other perspective. Okay, so that's all I think for face negotiation theory. And now we move on to conversational constraint theory. The CCT explains why people from different cultures say what they say. So it is not concerned on what is said, but rather to how what is said is to be said. So it focus on how the message is delivered or conveyed. And it assumes that there are five concerns that will be guiding a message production in kind of interaction. We will talk about these five elements further in after this. So before we talk about those five concerns, we need to first understand the foundation of conversational constraint. So in CCT, it is believed that interaction are built upon goals. So everyone engaged in any kind of interaction actually have their own goals, implicitly or explicitly. Like you want to gain compliance, seeking some information, asking something, requesting some investigation, or even altering the direction of relationship, like you want to strengthen it or you just want to cut it off. And regardless of those goals, people have their own concern in achieving it. So there are many strategies you can employ to get what you want. However, especially in cultural perspective, appropriateness and effectiveness serve as two major global constraints, and they become the foundation of the other conversational constraint. So this is the five dimension of conversational constraint, the five elements that we already show you before, and this is the further explanation that will help you understand it better. And the first one is the concern to clarity. In CCT, there are five elements or constraint that you'd like to review before you trying to achieve your goals. The first one is the concern of clarity. Uh, it is it is I'm sorry. It arises when you have the need to deliver the clear and explicit intention to request an action. So you care about the clarity more than you care about the other else. Like when you instruct someone to do A or to do B, you tend to use the more direct expression, like please clear the table or please submit your assignment on time, because late submissions mean failure in the final term, like that. It's usually used to emphasize the message. The second one is the concern to minimize the imposition or or to minimize the feeling of being forced. So it reflects the effort to respect someone else's boundaries. So because as although we are a part of the society, actually we are different individuals. So as a person, all of us has their personal boundaries, and in this concern we try to minimize the the disrespect to that boundaries. So when you state your need, you try to use a more respectful tone in your statement, like please reply my email when you have the time. It's more likely expressing that you want that person to reply your email, but in honor of their own time and priorities, you are willing to wait, and that's minimizing imposition. So the third one is considering others' feeling. And this constraint is about the sincerity to prevent hurting someone else's feeling and not to make them feel uncomfortable. So it is reflecting the consideration to protect the hearer's face so they can maintain a positive self-image. Sometimes when in communication, you know that every one of us needs to protect our face, and being considerate of someone else's need to maintain their positive image is actually uh, one type of conversational constraint in communication. So when you do so, you sometimes use the phrase like, "Oh, when your friend making mistake, for example, you just what is that? Calm her down and say, "Oh, that's perfectly okay. I don't even know how to do that either. It must be so hard for you. I think none in the class could doing that any better." So you just trying to soothe her emotion and her loss of face. So the fourth one is risking disapproval for the self. Here, the need to maintain our own positive image and gain social approval. So it is actually the opposite of the third number, the third constraint. In the fourth constraint, our first consideration or our first priority is actually to maintain our positive image. So, for example, you are engaged in a class and you coming late. So, rather than you just come in and sit on your desk, you try to apologize to the class by explaining the reason to avoid negative judgment from your classmates. And here comes the fifth element, which is effectiveness, which represent the need to ensure that the hearer gets the message on point. Every one of us, when we interact each other, truly or sincerely, deep inside, we want that people to understand or to be on the same page with us. So sometimes, to ensure this, we asking confirmatory questions or looking at their face, facial expression, or body gesture, just to get a glimpse of how they might perceive our message, or did they really get what I mean. So you can use phrase like, are we on the same page? Or asking further or digging further, like, could you please elaborate that further to increase the effectiveness of your communication? So this is the 5 dimension of conversational constraint that usually being implemented in our everyday conversation. Okay, here comes the last note for today's meeting. Although FNT and CCT, the face negotiation theory or conversational constraint theory, assist us in achieving interaction goals. However, it could be tricky when we implement this on different culture, because different culture has maybe have their own priority or set of values, and this set of values will affect what they perceive as important and what they perceive as not. Like in collectivist, maybe people see that being polite is everything, while on individualist society, maybe they see freedom to talk or freedom of expression become their main priority. So it's actually the beauty and also the tricky part of learning intercultural communication. Okay, that's my last presentation for today. If you have any questions or further inquiry, please drop them on the section below. Thank you.